but no
Oh,
war.
we're hot.
Today is a different day. Nice.
Red.
Move this light closer. All right. Oh.
Tetelos.
Chula.
Ay,
It's a little too round to be set down on there. Why don't you put it on the ground? Just look up like this one here is.
because I want to go like this.
Yeah. I bet if we just brought this bitch right on the ground over here. Get the light. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe can you move that one over there and this and I can clip right here? There you go. So bring her in a little more. Need more light than that.
Well, you tell me what I'm going to need.
You don't tell the director what he needs, okay?
All right, we're hot.
It's a little dim, a little dark. I want to bring that light a little
How
closer.
do you know it's what?
You don't know. A little dim. You know what dim? Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Now we're kicking. So what were we talking about last time, last segment? We were talking about the power of projection energy, quantum physics terms, you would call it the power of observation. The vernacular term would be paying attention. If you want to delve into what some would call religious, you would say the power of prayer. Scalar waves, back to science. The power of projecting energy and basically creating your own, creating your own destiny within the parameters of your uncontrollable destiny.
Well, I believe that because we have free will, then therefore that automatically nullifies destiny.
Yeah, but you have free will within a preordained pattern.
And then it wouldn't be free will.
That's the great. Do we have a choice or not? This is really the great argument. Is every choice you made, if predestiny exists, every choice you made is theoretically already been known about. There's nothing you can do because God knows everything. So everything's according to some sort of plan. So then free will doesn't really exist. But
Just because he knows everything doesn't mean he wills everything.
so therefore, but I do believe that the outcome is essentially the same as far as frequency goes, as far as just pure energy flow, like magnetic tide. It's going to end up being the same divine geometrical formation every single time in this dimension that we perceive in with our five senses. So no matter what, you're going to live and you're going to die. Let's start right there. And this body, at least, is going to know a timeline. It's going to know a beginning and an end, a birth and a death. So we're basing everything off of this birth and death in relation to the five senses. Now we've given ourselves the framework, and that is our destiny. We are destined to be born and die. That's almost obvious. everybody who I've ever known is getting older every second. We're getting older as we're talking right now. So we have this perceived timeline of life and death, which can be questionable in relation to the holographic universe and so on and so forth. But we're going to simplify and say, okay, we have a life, we have a birth, we have a death, we have five senses which we perceive things in. We were talking about this earlier today. So where does your free will fit into this already preordained life and death? Okay, well now I have a choice of how far I can push the frequencies, how far I can push my energy and have a cause and effect on the universe around me, which is me setting up many, many signs. How far can I push my light or signs where people can see them and be influenced by them? Because, again, you can't really control another's free will. You can only use the power of suggestion to open up pathways, portals, and doorways for a person to walk through on their own free will.
So let's touch back to one of the subjects that we... So do you think that, touching back on what I said about free will nullifies destiny theory?
Mm-hmm.
So where are we... Where's your definite answer
I'm
in
saying
regards to that?
free will does not nullify destiny. It's free will within a pattern.
Okay,
so you do have free will.
You disagree with me.
Well, I only half disagree with you. I'm not saying, well, free will doesn't exist. That would be disagreeing. What I'm saying is free will exists, but it's within the framework of a pattern. You have the ability to consume a whole bunch of the energy's pattern, but other living things will not be able to have that same consumption power. It won't be available to them in this dimension in which we're perceiving it. Now, if we can open up all the minds around us with this inspirational energy, then everybody can truly have free will. But inside the psychological cage, which we touched on last episode, please watch that and catch up to the downfalls and pitfalls of the psychological cage. The Sigmund Freud trap. Past that is true free will. But past that, you're not governed by the rules of this dimension. In this dimension, I jump off that building, I fall and I hit the ground. Everything's very black and white, and it's only the five senses that are being appealed to.
So my earlier point was there cannot be a bifurcation between the body and what the conscience can do. Like the mind is infinite in the ether, within the mind only though, because there is a finite combination, combination of matter and our biomatter.
Okay, there is a finite combination of matter and biomatter within us, basically what you're saying. Yes, because that's what we believe and that's what we perceive as a whole. That's part of the psychological cage that we have to get out of together, and only together.
Well, who was it that wrote, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave"? The tangled web is how does one exist out of body without abandoning the house, which is
you don't abandon the house because if you want to explain it in terms of science, entangled particles, they are always connected no matter how far distance they go apart from each other. They are always completely connected and interworking.
Yeah, but like in the black hole theory, once your matter gets split and it becomes dispersed, it cannot be re-magnified. It just changes into form.
So you don't send your matter through the black hole. You only send your conscious, free-moving energy through the black hole. You don't send your actual physical body that's grounded here on Earth.
So you're using black holes as ethereal wormholes to send thoughts through to the next dimension to communicate yourself with your alter body?
It could be thoughts, yes, that's what I'm saying. But it doesn't not restricted to only sending thoughts through. Thought is like
body. You're not sending a body.
No. I'm saying we're not sending matter through, but it's not. It almost limits the idea of what can go through by calling it just a thought. I mean, it almost expands. It depends who you're talking to, but I don't like the term using just sending a single thought through, because what is a thought to begin with?
A manifestation is a wrinkle in the string theory. It's a chord struck in a string theory.
A vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a thought is a vibration, a harmonic vibration.
Yeah. But it's bioluminescence.
I can dig that. Sonoluminescence. It's a vibration creating the universe around us.
Feel the vibration.
That Marky Mark song, isn't it?
Feel vibration. Feel the vibration. Is it Marky Mark?
That's the fun. Marky Mark the Funky Bunch.
Really?
Right?
Oh man, that's Jason Bourne.
And he starts rapping and shit. That's Marky Mark.
Oh really?
Marky
Oh
Mark the
man,
Funky Bunch.
I just
That's,
quoted Marky Mark. Gill me.
He really came up in the acting world. All right, good for him.
Yeah, Jason Bourne.
No, that's the other guy.
Oh really? Oh, I get him
Damn,
confused.
right?
They don't look alike. So, all the Wahlbergs look alike. So, to touch base, where I stand so far in the conversation is that free will nullifies destiny, and there cannot be a bifurcation of the mind and the body.
Well, that's a very limiting thought.
No divergence.
That is a very limiting thought. But why are you even considering a divergence anyhow? Expanding your consciousness to go freely through the universe while grounded to your body. That's not limiting. That's actually maximizing your human body. That's what your human body is supposed to be doing. That's why all other God's creatures on this planet are doing just that. Living in harmony with their environment while their spirit is free.
You can remove you with your mind, but your body's doing your yoga postures.
So it's not really bifurcating then. You're there in both places at all times. You become infinite instead of being very singular. Instead of being like locked in a little cage.
The difference between remote viewing and is at the end of the day you always have to come back to the house.
Well, you don't know that. You don't really know that. That might not be the truth. Like who says that?
Because
a couple people who wrote a couple books about astral projection might have said something like that, but that doesn't make it what it is. In fact, we're constantly moving through the universe at all times. We're just psychologically blocking ourselves from realizing it. We're already there. We just are not making the conscious connection with our bodies. Our bodies are these great tools that are gifted to us to project this amazing energy within us of light and of the great balance of negative and positive harmonious movement. It's within us. And then we've been gifted these bodies to ground that energy like electricity, free our consciousness, and truly expand ourselves through the universe and realize it and bring it into a conscious awareness and be able then to have the power to manifest beautiful things upon this earth. And that's not the end game. That's not the goal. It's just a byproduct of freeing the consciousness.
Well, I'm just saying the consciousness can never be completely free because at the end of the day, it has to take what the house is doing into consideration.
Well, why does that make it not free? Because you have to have responsibility. That's not, as soon as the very second you have a sort of responsibility, you're no longer free.
Well, you're responsible to staying alive. You gotta feed yourself, clothe yourself, and live within the architecture, and navigate through the society reading the street signs. So, therefore, you could only do a certain amount of free dreaming before you have to come back and interact on a mathematical equation.
Well, unless you can do both at the same time at all times, which I believe you can. And that's the power of the human mind, body, spirit,
Listen,
soul
if
together.
you're driving down the highway, your mind takes off to like astral project past the Kuiper Belt onto Sirius B. You're not paying attention to the road. Guess what's going to happen?
Your mind's already in Sirius B by the time you're constantly even driving the car. Like, our mind is so powerful, we can do all logistical things in this dimension even better than we're doing with our not realizing our conscious self. By realizing our conscious self, our actions here on Earth will be 10 times smoother, more efficient, harmonious than they are now. You will probably never even get in a car and drive a car because you would be disgusted by the prospect of it if your consciousness was free. But yeah, let's get back to reality, in which we exist. And people are dying all around us in war, famine, and hunger brought by banking establishments and crashing the world down. And where does your astral projection and freeing your consciousness fit into the grand scheme of that? Well, the answer is, if we can free our consciousness we can have the power to help all these people on the planet as well. Whereas we're being limited now because we're all subjected to the psychological cage and the distractions of society that we're not able to tap into our energy that we already possess within ourselves. All we have to do is realize it. And as soon as you realize it and observe it, you manifest it into reality.
I mean, like, what if my dream is to be the first human to ever travel from one universe to another.
Okay. It's a good dream.
So my mind just went there. But what does my reality of my body say?
But your mind leaving to go to the...
But no, but like, okay, I decided I want to be the greatest, first ever human to travel outside of the Kuiper Belt past Betelgeuse up to Sirius B.
Then I'd probably tell them it's already been done a few times. But feel free. Feel free. And please tell me what you find on your journey.
Who do you know that's done it?
Case from the Bronx. He's one of the only people actually know who's done it.
Okay, Case. I believe, yeah, that's true.
Because he had so much time by himself. He told me that he was able to
get there.
And that really inspired me when he told me that. And I tripled my practice more than ever. And I had 3 good experiences since then. Where I've been very connected and soaring through the mountain skies, universe. And basically, you're only bound by your imagination, which is infinite and unquantifiable, which is why the lucid dreamer can topple the entire quantum machine anytime. Because you're unpredictable. The quantum machine can only predict things that have happened in a great computing method. And you might even be able to divide and slice up all these ideas of things that have happened to come up with seemingly new ideas, but it's not. And the quantum computer is not capable of these new ideas. Only the human mind is capable of projecting realities. And that is why this society has been created to project this reality so that certain people can stay empowered while trying to achieve immortality. Do I have proof of that now?
Well,
but then again, the whole system is already proof. How much more proof do you need? Obviously something's going on. Either it's just a bunch of greedy humans just trying to overpower themselves over somebody else. There's still a greedy vibration coming from somewhere that can be called evil. So we're here on a rooftop in Harlem, the Hart House. Who started the Hart House? Christy started the Hart House. Good job. And shout outs to the Brooklyn Artists Guild, 59 Jefferson. Alex Seal started that.
Well, yes.
Good things happened there. It almost seems like a long time ago. Very nostalgic. A lot of magic happened.
It was a beautiful studio.
Beautiful studio. So much art. Awesome things were created. That's awesome to see people still carrying the torch.
Yeah. You know, a lot of the people in there, they debated because a lot of the people feel that they didn't want to be, they wanted to be in the place, but they didn't want to be part of Brooklyn Artists Guild.
Right.
So they had like a whole little expression of their thoughts, and that's the beauty of it, the freedom to enjoy the knowledge and the instruction and the many abundant provisions without having to actually deem responsibility to the movement.
Yeah.
You know, that's the beauty of the place. Oh!
We're back.
And we're back.
Everything okay?
Alright, we're going to take a break, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Gucci Fanboys, yeah. So everybody here on this one here, this is our stuff here gets edited. The stuff here it goes raw footage. It goes uploaded right up. So this is another episode of Perspectives
Is this raw
with
footage?
Blake Emery. Yeah,
It's live?
this doesn't get edited. No, but
It's live.
it just doesn't get edited. Yeah, basically live. It's gonna get uploaded just like that. Now this here, the stuff here is gonna get put into tonight's episode of Painting with Guillo.
Now, is this still going to be on your channel?
Yes, both of them.
What's the channel?
Painting with Guillo.
Painting with Guillo. It's light over here. Okay. Hope you guys can see us.
Wait, let me just turn this up and then turn the light on. Alright guys, thank you. Tune in, subscribe to our channel. Subscribe. Deuce, 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 deuce.